What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, break down some headlines about Tesla and why we're seeing a little bit of a dip so far this morning after some unemployment numbers came out. They weren't that great. But later on down the line, we do have Jerome Powell giving a speech later today that could cause more volatility. So I'm going to break down everything you need to know, at least heading into the trading day. Just know that I'm not a financial planner. Take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, so as far as the market's going, there's a big downtrend on Tesla. That's very, very evident so far. I do want to mention that we have this support near this $260 area. If Tesla fails there, we have this gap to fill taking us down to about 252. So there's going to be a risk of some downside if we can't hold that. And we're very close to 260. We just touched it right now, down a little bit during the pre-markets, right? If you look at SPY, we're actually up just a tiny bit. We're only up 0.09% right now, still kind of weak even after the unemployment numbers came out. Why is that? Because like the headlines are saying, U.S. unemployment adds a solid 151,000 jobs last month, but unemployment did go up. So that's something that's worth mentioning. We're seeing unemployment rise slightly, and this is going to likely continue as the layoffs continue as well. So just keep that in mind. So non-farm payrolls was at 151,000. This is technically aligned with expectations, but our unemployment rate went up to 4.1%. That's above expectations. Not the best of news. And then when it comes to other factors, the labor force participation rate was at 64.2%. 62.4%, excuse me, which is still technically okay. So this is what the data looks like. The market saw a little pop when the data came in, now starting to dip back down. Still very, very flat, and we are still looking relatively weak, like I said before. Tesla is even weaker than the markets because we have additional negative news about their sales. The numbers are coming out that their sales are weak throughout the globe. I'm seeing that all over the news. Even many European countries are looking at sales that are down 50% or more. 76% declines in sales in Germany. So I'm still seeing headlines kind of circulating about this. So please keep that in mind. Also, we're seeing more registrations down. At least in different areas. Australian sales are down 72% in February, only selling about 1,592 vehicles compared to about 5,600 during the same period last year. So sales are down in Australia, in Europe, in the US, and China. So we're still seeing negative news about this. And this is part of why Tesla's underperforming compared to the market right now. So keep that in mind. In terms of the future, just know that we have a bunch of Fed speakers throughout the day, like Bowman, Williams, Kugler. Then at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the big guy Jerome Powell giving a speech, and he's going to be addressing a lot of different things. He could be talking about the trade wars, inflation, and just keep in mind that the last times this guy has spoken, he's been very optimistic. He's been saying the economy is doing fine. He's been continuing to just say, his narrative, and that has been a little bit more positive for the markets. So there's a chance that he might talk about this all over again. So we'll see if Jerome Powell pumps the market or not. For the options chain, Max Payne happens to be at about 587 for the day. We'll see if we end up getting a big move or not. Going back to Donald Trump, Donald Trump is also mentioning that as time goes on, with his trade wars and such that are going on, this could reignite inflation. This is what some headlines are saying. So there's a chance that we might see Powell mention all of this. Donald Trump also announced on Thursday he's going to be postponing some of the 25% tariffs on Mexico by 1 month after a conversation with Mexico's president. He mentioned they're working together to improve a lot of things from the borders and etc. So that's what Donald Trump said. More tariffs are being postponed, so this is like a little bit more positive. We'll see if this eventually helps the markets, but for now, I just wanted to say that Tesla's still weak despite all of this. We're on a downtrend. We're looking at this 260 area to see if it holds. If not, I could be looking for that gap fill down to about 252. I think we might see a small dip in Tesla. But then once the gap fills, we'll see if we get some kind of balance with Jerome Powell's speech or not. So please keep that in mind, guys. We are still looking relatively weak looking at this chart. We're just making lower highs and lower lows. Riding this trend line down, we could slowly begin to this downtrend. We could be filling the gap back down to 252. But then we'll see if Powell causes a bounce afterwards. On SPY, we're actually back to red, so it's still a little bit more bearish. I'm going to be watching this when we go to our daily charts. we have supports around our 200 EMA at 569. So will we end up holding 570 to 568, that range, because of previous support, or do we end up losing that and dumping really hard? I think we could dip a little bit towards like 572, maybe a little bit lower, but then we'll see if we could hold this support today, especially because we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. Will he cause us to bounce off 568 to 570? Watch that range. We could be dipping closer to that. The QQQ is kind of weak as well. Looking at the daily chart, it's very flat right now. We have to see if we could hold 485 and then 482 in that range. I want to see us hold 485 today for us to try some kind of rebound. We still look bearish on the forward, might dip a little bit towards 485 or below. So look for a small dip upon open, but then we will see, can we see a big bounce with Jerome Powell? I'll be waiting for that. On the Russell 2000, we're bearish, making lower highs and lower lows. ES is very flat right now at 57.50. That's our support. If that fails us, I could be looking for 5700 flat. We want to see it reclaim at least 58.20 or so for us to rebound. So we'll see, but it's still looking relatively weak. For NQ, we're on a downtrend. We're making lower highs and lower lows. We're watching to see what 20,000 holds. If it holds, we could bounce above 20,400. If not, we could be dumping more. So look for a test of 20,000. Might dip a little bit, and we'll see if it could hold support or not. For Bitcoin, we're looking optimistic with the some big news that came out involving the crypto reserve and then other investments. We have to see if we could hold 88,000. If that's the case, this could attempt a small push to 92,000 just temporarily. Nvidia is kind of flat right here. We're looking at this support near at 110. If it doesn't hold, we could be looking for 107. It's still a little bit weak right now, but we're barely holding support. So watch this low right here. Can we hold this low or not? I am seeing wicks forming, so it might dip a little bit. But if we could hold above 110 throughout the day, there could be a bounce attempt to 115 towards the end if Jerome Powell pumps us. So watch this support. Will Nvidia hold or not? It's a little bit weak right now. Apple's a little bit weak. It could be dipping to about 232, and we'll see if we bounce near there. We do have a lot of wicks forming around that, and then that's where we like to see buyers. So let's see if we see a small dip and what kind of reaction we get. For a coin, we're technically on a downtrend. We're actually very flat right here. So we could be dipping closer to 210 to 207. We'll see if we get some kind of rebound move. We'll see if this is a double bottom. There is potential in the setup, but we need confirmation. I want to see it break 226 to really start breaking. We haven't done that yet. For Amazon's right here. Amazon's on a downtrend, still very weak. I want to mention that there's a big support right here around like 195. So it is possible we dip to like 197 to 195, and we'll see if we bounce. I think we might retest the lows, so it might be a small dip here, but watch and see if we get a bounce later on with Jerome Powell's speech. For the time being, we are bearish. Meta's a little bit weak right now as well. We have 626 as our support. If we don't hold 625-ish, then we could be dipping all the way down to about closer to about the 610 area. So it's still looking relatively weak. Unfortunately, it could be dipping a bit more. For Microsoft, we're on a downtrend, making lower highs. Watch our 50 EMA around that 399 area. If that does not hold, we could be dipping towards 390. So be careful, guys. Might be a small dip here. So we want to see if we could hold above like 389 to 390. Might be a small dip before it attempts some kind of rebound. Even Google's very flat right now, might consolidate, but there could be a bounce later. It's looking the strongest out of many of these big tech stocks. The VIX is flat. So we're going to see if we get some kind of bounce. There's a gap to fill below. So my suspicion is that, Tesla is going to be kind of weak, might dip a little bit. We'll see how well we could hold above 260. The whole market may dip a bit, but as the day goes on, will we get some kind of bounce? Will the market makers try to squeeze shorts and bring us closer to max pain at, in the 580s? Or will we see Jerome Powell, the big guy? Will this guy give us a pump? At the end of the day, he's going to be speaking at 12:30, so I'll be waiting for that, and I'll give you guys another update as time goes on. All right, guys, I thank you all so much for listening, so please have a good rest of your day. Take care. I'll be back with another update very soon. Until then, have a good day and peace out.